I am Tejal Chawathe, and the topic being studied here for the Studio 1 construction project formulation and appraisal is the noodle manufacturing plant. Technical analysis. The technical analysis is carried out to understand the various technologies that would be involved in the project and to choose the most appropriate one. Now, the noodle production process, as shown in the left diagram, involves numerous steps right from the raw material procurement to the production of the noodles and finally the packing and shipping to the warehouses. In the formwork selection, an analysis is done to understand the various types being considered here like conventional timber, conventional steel, doka formwork, periplastic formwork, and weighted scoring is done on the basis of the parameters shown here to choose the most appropriate one, which in this case is the periplastic formwork which is being used on site. The next component that is studied is the roof insulation. Here, roof insulation system for a food processing industry is very important to maintain the required temperature in the building. And three alternatives, namely expanded polystyrene, extruded polystyrene, and polyisocyanurate are studied, where expanded polystyrene is found to be most appropriate on the basis of the scoring done after studying several parameters, and this is being used in the project. The next component is laser screeding, which is analyzed and its limitations and benefits are studied, and it is found that it is appropriate to this industry because of its large floor areas and it is being used in the project. Next component studied is the floor finish material for the mixture area, wherein three materials are considered, namely PU flow finish, epoxy flow finish, and tile finish. And after weighted scoring on the basis of various parameters, PU finish is found to be the most appropriate for the mixture area with its high score. And then in the component of roads, it is found that the areas shown in yellow here in the plan are the ones which have heavy vehicular movement at loading, unloading docks, and it is most appropriate to use RCC roads here, and in the remaining areas, asphalt roads are being used. Choosing by advantage is a lean tool which is used for selecting the most appropriate alternative for the materials that are being used in the project. So now, in this case, here we have studied roofing material, where the options considered are galvanized steel sheet, zinc alum steel sheet, and aluminium steel sheet. Each of the stakeholders, like the client, the designer, contractor, and facility operator, mention their required factors for the material, like the strength, durability, rate of corrosion, etc. And then, after a discussion, they are arranged in the order of importance, starting from the highest to the lowest, and also categorized as the must factors and want factors. The next step involves the assigning of the attributes and the criteria for the different selected factors. Then the scoring for advantages is done, and here zinc alum steel is found to have the highest score. Next, cost analysis is done, and it can be seen in this graph that when importance of advantage and cost are plotted, the most optimum alternative for the roofing material is zinc alum sheet. Legal compliances are very important for every project, and here the general compliances have been shown across the various stages of the project in the upper part of the slide, and here below the compliances specific to industries have been mentioned, like the industrial registration, the boiler registration, and several others. Here it was noticed that the consent to establish was the one which caused the delay in a project. Risk management. It involves various steps like the risk identification, its assessment, its mitigation, and its control. For this project, various risk categories were identified like the four major risks, environmental, legal, social, etc. And a risk register was made for each of the 94 risks identified under the different categories. And the register involved the category, the name, the phase, description, its probability, consequence, severity, response, and the risk owner. The risk severity analysis for threats. Here, a severity matrix has been made for the threats, and the threats with the highest severity are shown in the red area. Here, the error in calculation of project cost is the risk with the highest severity, followed by the improper maintenance of electrical components which can cause fire. A threat versus severity analysis graph is shown here, and the risk response includes either to avoid, transfer, mitigate, or accept the risk. The severity analysis for opportunities. Here, a similar matrix has been made for the risks which pose as opportunities. Here in the green area, we can see that the highest opportunity is due to the emergence of competition as well as the corporate and brand reputation of the client. A similar opportunities versus severity analysis has been made, and in case of opportunities, the risk responses are to accept, exploit, and enhance. Also, the ownership analysis shows that the client is the one who has to manage the most number of risks. Conclusion. In technical analysis, different technical components were studied using weighted scoring, and the ones selected were Perry formwork under formwork analysis, EPS for roof insulation, and PU for the flow finish of the mixture area. Different factors were also considered for laser screeding and bitumen and RCC roads. The CBA lean tool was used for choosing the appropriate roofing material, which was zinc alum steel sheet. Under legal compliances, various compliances in general and specific to the project were studied, along with their designated authorities, granting officers, time and cost, and the ones which would cause a delay in the project, like in this case, the consent to establish, was noted. Then in risk management, 94 different risks under various categories were identified, and the severity analysis was done as well as mitigation measures proposed. The one with the highest threat was the error in calculation of project cost, and the one which provided the greatest opportunity was the emergence of competition and corporate and brand reputation.